Well, we're talking with my friend Doyle Dykes, and Doyle is like, I'd say, the premier solo guitar player around today. I mean, of all the guys I've seen, you're the one, Doyle.
Well, they haven't heard your new Wes Montgomery Takeoff Christian record.
Oh, yeah, they have.
Well, that's good stuff. By the way, you are really a great player. My son and I were listening to your record this past week, and not only do you have all the chops and the technique down from Wes Montgomery, but the way you wrote around it and put your own little sparkle in there, and just it's really brilliant stuff. I love it.
Well, thank you.
It's really nice. So there's a guy alive that can play like that, and it was great stuff.
Well, how nice, coming from somebody I admire.
Well, it's another style you have that you're so good at. That I'm just glad you did something with that. It's really nice.
Thank you. Well, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Well, I guess we're done now.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go eat.
But you know what I like about you, Doyle, is no matter where you are, secular or in the church, you're always talking about Jesus. You're talking about God.
Yeah.
You don't let that. You don't hold back, do you?
No, I mean I try. Sometimes I.
Well, you have a little restraint.
Someone told me not long ago. They said it must be hard to get up in a secular situation and talk about the Lord. And I said it's hard not to. It's just it really is hard not to. I do have to hold back sometimes. But I never hold back to where I don't get the message across. I may not always get up and preach a sermon. Type thing and give scriptures or allude to the Bible or anything else like that, but they know where I'm coming from by the end of it, and it's a life. It's not only a lifestyle thing too. It is a projection, I mean, I project that, and I project that I'm a family guy, and I'm not ashamed of that. I'm not ashamed that I project that I'm a Christian. I'm not ashamed of that. Why should we be?
Yeah. Well, you're setting the example for so many of us, and that's important. Really,
well,
you really
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Years ago, I had a vision to reach musicians for the Lord. I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida. A lot of my friends that I grew up with and knew a long time ago are no longer around. For various reasons, and a lot of it was because the music business and guitar playing, lifestyle, and it just doesn't have to be that way. They're not all that way. Not everybody ends up that way that plays a rock song, and I'm not saying it's a sin to be in a rock band.
Right.
It's not a sin to play jazz guitar. It's not a sin to play folk music. I mean, there are a lot of things. Yeah, but
not at all.
Some people, when they get saved, they think you have to turn it all off. Well, you still like to go to restaurants, different kind of restaurants. We have tastes in food and tastes in different in clothing, and things. And music's the same way. And I'm not inhibited in the least bit to say that music is a gift from God. It all came from the Lord. Whether they give Him credit for it or not, that's up to them.
Right.
But someone asked Paul McCartney, where does music come from? How do you write songs? He says, I don't know. I don't have a clue. He said, they just kind of float around up there in the sky, and I've lassoed a few of them down. I mean, what kind of answer is that? Because there is no answer. And I agree that God gives us gifts, and it's definitely given that guy a gift to be able to write songs,
Right.
Someone asked Mozart that. He didn't have an answer for it, And so I think it's a gift from the Lord. And I'm just glad to be able to pick a little bit and share my testimony with people.
Yeah, you do a fair amount of picking.
Yeah, I just got in. I've never been to more time zones than I was last month, and it was really crazy. And I'm thankful that I could do it. I really am. And I met a lot of new friends. And it was really a cool thing too. And Rich, I know you probably get more of this than I do. People that learn things from you, But when you see a kid in England that comes up, and I'm the kid on YouTube, and he's got like 80,000 hits, and he played from a song that he learned from me,
Right.
And another kid came up, and And he said, do you mind if I play a song for you? And I said, sure. And there were some guitars on the stage, I said, well, play my guitar. And next thing you know, there was a whole crowd of people on the stage. They had to make us leave. And this kid was playing Wabash Cannonball, and he's 14 years old, and he's not been playing but a year or so, And it's crazy. Amazing, how fast these kids are picking up. And how rewarding is that? It's like Chet when he heard Tommy Emmanuel play the first time. Here's a kid from Australia, too, that learned some of his tunes. Now I kind of know how he felt, I'm not saying I'm in Chet's league, but in that sense of the word, I am, and it's a wonderful thing to see that. It's cool.
So where does it go from here?
I don't know. All I can say is I'm going to I'm writing new stuff. I'm going to continue to do that. I'm still involved in the Grand Ole Opry. I play there often. I love that part of my life. There's a time when I didn't think I'd ever see backstage at the Opry again, and dreams come true. They do come true. And so I'm doing a homecoming record for them. I'm on a new record that's finally going to be released called Primal Twang, the history of the guitar. Dan Query, our friend Dan, wrote this. It was a sort of a script to it, and Eric Johnson's on there. Your friend Mason Williams, you know Mason, and a lot of great guitar players.
Wow.
And some of the new players that I'd never really heard play before, never heard of them before, and they were just incredible musicians on that. I am going to do some other DVD stuff.
Yeah.
And I've told people that on my website, so I apologize. But it's kind of one of those things, you get involved in your career, you get involved in your family. I had a grandson born this year. I had a daughter get married this year. Some things are really, they take precedence. I don't want to say they're more important because, but they do take precedence of your time. You know.
There's more to life than 6 strings and 12 frets.
Well, there is, and I think it's important the guitar players know that. Chet always said a thing too, and he said this. There's one thing to know your way around on a fingerboard of a guitar. Maybe he didn't say it just like this, but in essence, this is what he said. He said, keep up with what's going on in your world. Read the newspapers. Watch the news, for heaven's sake. Understand what's going on in your world. And I think the reason he said that is because guitar players always kind of got a bad rap in the past, Right. And it's but guitar players are brilliant people, and I think as performers too, that we should kind of know what's going on.
Right.
And even if we don't get up and do protest songs or anything like that, we should understand and have an understanding of our culture and our world. And the cool thing about, and I'm talking too much, but the cool thing about even in this past year, I've been to cultures and I've been to places I've never been before. Mm-hmm. And the guitar took me there. South Africa, Haley and I, we just went to. I've always wanted to go to Ireland, and I've been to Dublin. It's been a few years ago, but I've never been to Belfast, and to go there and to see that, and again, it was filled with young people, and there were kids hanging out, and they just couldn't get enough of you, And one older guy came up, he says, I've never heard words that you spoke. He said, I liked your music, but that was better than it. And he was crying, and he was a music store owner. He had tears in his eyes. He hugged my neck. And I'm going, wow. And it is cool to see that kind of thing happen. And then, of course, going to Australia, New Zealand, and then Hong Kong again, and all over the UK. And then in Denmark and Switzerland and places like that. It's amazing that this guitar has carried me, and this one's been at all those places, and it's carried me around the world. And it's a thing. It's just a thing, But it is precious.
Sure. And
even though there are more things than a guitar, but I do love this thing. I do appreciate the gift of music, and I respect it, and I respect what God's done for me in this thing.
You have said, I've heard you speak a few times, and I remember one time in Castro Valley at Reggie Coach's guitar conference, and boy, were you encouraging, telling about 500 guitar players that they can make it. You remember you saying that? Yeah. You can make it. Yeah. You can do this. Mm-hmm. That was encouraging.
Yeah, well, there was a time in my life too. There's someone there in California. There's a few guys around there like Charlie Daniels that was a great blessing to me and gave me that same word of encouragement. Guys like Daryl Owens, a pastor, that was he's up in Modesto now. He was down in Orange County at the time. Mm-hmm. Guys like that, Mike Michelson, guys that loved the Lord but loved guitar. And raised up just like me, playing Chet Atkins and all that. And they encouraged me to keep playing and keep going, And Jim Coker was from your town, and or Fresno area too. I can't tell you how many times I was going to quit and didn't have another place to go. And Jim opened his door for me to go and stay and just get that direction that I needed. And I never will forget, they told me they were watching the awards show or watching something. And his pastor was there and says, Doyle needs to be on there. Doyle needs to get back on the Grand Ole Opry. It was just like that. And it wasn't that long that I was there. I was there again. And then I said, right, But it's guys like that have sometimes more faith in you than you do yourself, So, yeah, if I can give a little encouragement to somebody else, I mean, how hard is that?
You're right. That's funny that a guy that plays as well as Doyle needs encouragement, but we all do.
We all do.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Doyle.
Rich, you're a hero of mine. I will tell you that. You really are my hero.
Really?
I love what you're doing. We watch your the DVDs. My son also gets a lot out of it, and
nice.
You cover all your bases on everything. Thanks for what you're doing, and I love you as a player too.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're a wonderful guitar player and a guy and a friend. Thanks, Rich.